Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Zilla Cabs. Right, this week we thought we'd have a bit of fun here. We've got two big 4x12 cabs and two little amps. So we've got a 15 watt Laney that regular viewers will know the sound of that. I use that quite a lot in the videos. And we've got our Orange OR15 as well. So we thought the idea here was that with little amps, quite often they get paired with small cabs, don't they?
Yeah,
1x12s or 1x10s or whatever. But as we've got this stuff lying around, we thought it was a good excuse to see what the little amps sound like into the big cabs.
Right, so we use these amps quite a lot. This one's featured in one video, I think we did, just because we loved it, and we loved how it. I think that was a open back compact with
I think
M
so.
Heritage.
Yeah.
When we plugged it in, it just sounded so great. So we went, right, get this in the studio and just quickly record it. But we use this a lot in the workshop. When we test all the cabs before they go out. We don't bring everything into the studio. It's just a great amp for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's like with relatively little dialing in, it does a lot of different sounds really well, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So with it being, and this is a little bit unfair, but with it being probably the cheapest amp or one of the cheapest amps we've got in, we've got a Les Paul Studio kind of just hung up.
Yeah.
We just plug it all in. So yeah, we haven't recorded this one as much. We recorded that a fair bit. Actually, that's one of our kind of go-to amps for
the clean and stuff. Yeah,
clean and that just breaking up a little bit of bite. So low powered, but not low quality.
No.
I mean, these are proper go-to amps for us.
Yeah.
And the thing about this one always surprises me at how loud it is. It's just kind of, you think about 7. This is 7 up to 7 and 15 watts.
Yeah, so
full. So
yeah, and in this video I just cut it on 7 just for the sake of the low powered thing.
I mean, I never put it. I sometimes knock it on 15 by mistake, but I do all the testing on 7 watts.
Oh, right.
And it's really is surprising at how loud that is.
Yeah.
So we kind of figured, we got the 4x12s out, got these amps, we want to show just how good they can sound with the 4x12. All right, so low powered amps, 4x12s. Do you have any experience live with
that? I can't say that I've used low powered amps with big cabs live. Most situations I've been in live have been with loud drummers, so I like having the headroom of a high-powered amp that can, you can get it to where you want it to be. Yeah. The beauty of these amps is that you can get to the sweet point without taking your ears off. So if you're like playing with like a more normally volume drummer, then you can get it to where like a super lead is starting to break up, that kind of sound, but your volume's nowhere near where a super lead is. So
yeah. I went through a spell of using an 18 watt a lot,
right,
which we've got lying about somewhere, haven't we? And I loved that. I used to find that it had like a power scaling thing on, so you could use. It's kind of like a JMP with a preamp.
Yeah.
I assume that's what it does. And then you could drive the preamp and have kind of like a master control. I don't think that's exactly how it does it, but it's kind of similar effect. And that was probably loud enough for a lot of gigs that we did. You'd often have, well, not often, but there'd be sort of 200-300 people, and it was quite capable of that. And that was good. I mean, you'd have the PA and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any reason why you can't use that.
No.
You play big stages, though.
Well, no, not all the time. I was lucky in the last band I was in, we did some big tours and festivals and stuff, but I've done loads of pub gigs and wedding bands and stuff like that. So
you're just like killing the
front
row.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Your drummer does.
Yeah, we just seem to be a loud band with the blues band that we were in. So yeah, I probably, if I went and did that now, I'd probably be a bit more sensible with it. Yeah.
You wouldn't take your 4x12.
Maybe I would take that rig. So with lower powered amps, they're often on the more budget side of the company's catalogue, aren't they? Like this amp, for example.
Often seen as that, yeah.
I mean, you do get boutique low powered amps and recreations of old Fenders and stuff like that. But then with that comes inherent like small cabinets as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think there's lots of restrictions that come along with these kind of amps. They'd be often, I think this is a perfect example, absolutely amazing amp. You could repackage it, put a different badge on there, make it look all nice and fancy, and probably charge £2,000 for it.
Right, yeah.
And I think a lot of companies probably do that. But what happens is it's a 1x10. It is seen as that should be cheaper than a 1x12.
Yeah. So we've probably got like an MDF cabinet.
Yeah, so the cabinet's not as good. The vast majority of combos will be open back just because of the way the dissipation of the heat. You can't close the speaker in and properly have the valves, all that kind of stuff, which dictates again how it's going to sound. If no one wants a 1x10 cabinet that's massive, because it's just that thing in your head says there's no point. Again, that dictates the sound. With a head, a smaller 15 watt head should be a lot cheaper than a 50 or 100. There's fewer parts. That's kind of what you
part
have.
of the marketing with these kind of size heads and lunchbox heads is that you can have your head in one hand and your 1x12
it's
in
just
your
like
hand.
grab and go, which is really cool. But that often means, again, the cab's seen as
the sound
cheaper.
quality is dictated by how carryable it is.
So there's all these factors are coming into play and determining almost what these kind of lower powered or cheaper amps are going to sound like. And we kind of thought by plugging them into a 4x12, you just get rid of all that kind of stuff. There's no even comparison with size or anything like that. You're not trying to keep it compact or anything like that. So we wanted to see how these amps are clearly loud enough to drive 4 speakers well. So that's not an issue. We wanted to show how the oomph of a 4x12 can be produced by small amps. All right, Joe, so tell us what you did in the recording.
Right, so I played the amps for what sounds they do best, really. I had the sort of clean and bluesy stuff with the Strat with the Laney, and then the humbuckers, the Poyd Smith with the Orange. One of the tones I did with the Orange was with the preamp gain at a sort of fairly sensible level, just almost clean. It doesn't really do totally clean, that amp. It's kind of just sort of tickles on the edge before you get any volume out of it, doesn't it?
It is quite quiet to get a real clean sound, though, isn't it?
So what I did was put it down to that sort of quieter bit and then just put the master wide open, and that gave a really cool sound. And that's something that you probably wouldn't want to do with a 100 watt head unless you haven't got any neighbours around. So that was a really useful sound. That'll be in there. And just play through a bunch of different styles, really, just to show what they can do. And for me, I think the 4x12 is such an ingrained part of like rock that it's just the best cab for me, the 4x12.
Yeah, you like it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just that thing. I think part of it is being in the room with that much air moving. Oh, can I quickly ask?
Yeah.
Right, these are both standard 4x12s. This one's got vintage 30s in. This one's M Creambacks. You may have seen a previous video we did, where we kind of compared the two through a bunch of styles. But have you put these in parallel? So all 8 speakers are. Yeah.
So the Orange has got a couple of different outputs, but the Laney's only got one extension output. They call it extension output because it kills the internal speaker once you use it. So you're essentially just using this as a head, so the inbuilt 1x10 isn't making any noise.
So you've daisy-chained the cabs in that case?
Yeah.
Okay, so this, if you don't know what that means this 4x12 has what looks like 2 inputs, but they're just wired together, so you can use them as an output as well. So it's kind of almost like having a 8x12.
Yeah, it used to really blow my mind as a kid, like thinking, how can an input be an output as well? But
it's just the same as wiring them with wire inside.
Yeah, it just joins them together basically inside the cab, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a really good way of if you are using like a small amp that's got only one output like this, then you can put a control plate like that on the back of your cab, and it's a pretty simple thing to do, isn't it? If
Yeah,
you're
I don't
handy with
think
a soldering iron,
There's
not
probably
too bad.
not a huge amount of people that are using an OR15 with 2 4x12s.
Yeah, well, there should be more of them though, because I think I like the way it sounds. All right, we'll move on to the clips of me playing these amps and cabs. But before we do, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon for notifications for when we bring out new videos. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. And leave us a comment. Let us know anything about this sort of stuff.
If you've ever used an OR15 with 2 4x12s.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about that, definitely. How did that go down? Yeah, okay, hope you enjoy. Bye.